Hello, I'm John Proxy on Tunnel of John West. I am having a disco Elysium adventure. A bit quiet in this room. I'm going to pay my bills. It's very party in this, quiet in this sort of party disco atmosphere. A little strange.
Can I help you?
Yes, about the money I owe. I have your money. Well, I am a sorry cop. So I'll say, here it is. Sorry for the trouble. Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance, starting tomorrow. Okay, well, we're going to need to make some money then, aren't we? We have enough to level up. Was there something I really wanted to level up? Something low that I was worried about? Possibly. We'll do it later. No, we shan't. Doing it later is a foolish idea. We'll look at what we want to, we can forget that if we want. Oh, authority. There we go. Because it was 1. Wonderful. He's not sorry about his behaviour for your sake. Suggestion. Now that you have money, he really wants to make sure you're not angry with him. Fair enough. He takes out his keychain and fiddles with the mechanism behind the counter. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 21:00 tomorrow. I don't know why I said it like that. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night. So expensive. He opens his wallet. I'll take a room here too. Of course. He takes the money and hands him a keyring. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Come on. So we're going to need to make a little bit of money. So we are going to talk to him on the balcony here. Also, yes, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last episode, but I think I did actually. Yeah, there's 15 minutes missing, which is really annoying. I just never noticed there's 15 minutes, and that episode's got loads of views, and it just cuts off at the end. That's really frustrating. Anyway. Electro-chemistry. You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit out of it. The what now? The living shit! Your mesolimbic reward pathway does not mince words. It wants smokes. Nah. This is the door to the room you redecorated. Good night, Lieutenant.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
Alright, let's go. Oh, I see. The balcony's in this direction. Right. It's a big huffy coat that I'm wearing. It kind of looks weird. It's because it's got a hood. It's not really built for sitting on chairs with. But it's fine. It's not fine. It's a bit weird now. Whatever. Okay. The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to traffic hum then.
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM?
He lights a cigarette as well. I didn't know you smoked, Kim. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual. Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette. I might want to pick up smoking. How did you get so cool, Kim? The light of his cigarette illuminates a fleeting smile. You mean this? He flicks the ash. This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy. Volition. Success. Keeping the habit within parameters he's giving himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit. Composure. Yet were he to quit, he would lose the cool factor. This man relishes his cool quite a bit. Blow it all. Right then. The debrief. How do you think today went? Well, you were so hungover that you couldn't keep it down when we approached the hanged man, so we didn't even inspect the body. But we performed a thorough search of the premises of the crime scene. That's great. I generally prefer to start with searching the scene and move on to dealing with dead bodies. And then move on to... It's not my job to evaluate your methodology, officer. I'm just going through the facts. As for interviewees, we weren't able to find the union leader, Everard Clare, much less interview him, so that's on the to-do list for tomorrow. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You've run a lot. Is that standard Precinct 41 practice? I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just wait until we get up tomorrow. I don't have time to waste time, you know. My mind moves fast. The rest has to try and keep up. He nods thoughtfully, tapping his finger on his cigarette. It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those heels. He looks at your snakeskin boots, shoes and smiles suddenly. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. So what are our powers exactly? The RCM. Okay, I was worried I wasn't recording. They're quite limited. Actually, the powers officers of Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently in imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offences, in accordance to the interdepartmental schedule. Wouldn't that be an easy power to abuse? Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. He frowns. It undermines trust in the RCM. Okay, what else? We can arrange... I did leave one out. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to call a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. Wait, how can you be sure the arrestee will show up? You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. I see. And if someone resists? As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. Wait, so if I do kill someone while on duty, you have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It's hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. What happens to the people we convict? We don't convict, we arrest, and we send them to the coalition government courts in Curon and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. He taps on his coat pocket, where he keeps his notes. And who makes all these rules? Continue. The coalition government and the moral Linton more broadly. The RCM was formed by a coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. His gaze is absently fixed on a window below just... What? Sorry, this is the first recording of the day. And it's like 4. His gaze is absently fixed on a window below. That just went dark. What? It's just sort of a weird sentence. He's looking at a window and that window went dark. Or perhaps it is better to say we are allowed to form. It is a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Let's say it was the citizens of Revachol. Be sentimental, if you like. Either way, the Morale Linton leases us the right to keep the peace of the city, and they will take it away if we misuse it. Or if they think you do. Rhetoric. Moral Linton. What is it? The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. He pulls on his cigarette. You know what they are? They run the place after the revolution failed. If I didn't know, how would you describe them? They're a union of centre-left and centre-right parties across the Real Belt. A coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, that's the Insane Clown Posse, and the EPIS, the most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? What do they believe in? They are DeLoreans. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Dye 4 centuries ago. Others say they're just technocrats. Those others say they continue the humanist project set forth by Dolores Dye. What is their symbol? Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that. Something kind and usual. Conceptualization. Continue. Something almost self-explanatory. Something even a little feminine, but in a strict manner. Alright, electro-chemistry. Who was Dolores Dye? Or Day? A historical figure? The author of the modern age? He thinks. You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. What do you think of them? The Morale Linton are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts till they change, and he looks at the city below. It doesn't look like that's about to happen. I have an opinion on the Morale Linton, conclude. Do you? The lieutenant arches his brow, then pulls on his cigarette. It's a slim white thing on his fingers. Okay, let's go for the communist option. We're stooges of the world's biggest bourgeoisie organization protecting bourgeoisie rights. No, we are stooges in the world's... We're stooges in the world's biggest bourgeoisie organization protecting the people of Revachol. That's the hand we were dealt. Without the MI, we'd become vigilantes. I mean, I think Kim might be right in this situation. That he sort of looked right through my politics and went, no, we're still the police though. Maybe we should make our own law. Spoken like a revolutionary, not a cop. But hypothetical aside, in Martinez we already are vigilantes. At least the Union thinks so. I expect our job here to prove quite challenging. He looks around the roundabout. Say nothing. Just look into the night. The dying lights of the city shimmer below, slowly, like luminous clouds. They pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. Finally, he pulls on the cigarette and says, they really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. Why are they like this? It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company. Not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts. And in the Jamrock and the GRIH, he looks in the dark silhouette of the equestrian monument cutting into the night sky and says, we run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... He shakes his head. But we're in control, and it's worth it. The organization works. Our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. I hope our investigation will help improve the situation here. At least do some good. Me too, he says quietly. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. Thank you for this. Leave. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go. Puts out the stub of his cigarette and looks to the door. You know what? Put that away. The smell of the sea makes you dizzy. Okay. I like this game. It's quite... I was going to say dense, but that's not correct. I'm going to have to talk to her again because it wasn't caught on camera. See you in the morning. Why is that down there? It's always like that. Bye. Look in the mirror. Oh yeah, and of course, I can go out without him if I want to. Okay, use your chain cutters to fix the faucet. Stop steam from fogging up the... Hang on. Okay, use the chain cutters to fix the faucet. Stop steam from fogging up the mirror. Success! The faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you might be able to twist its parts into place. Continue. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet gains recognizable shape. The steam stops. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. Okay, it's now low, which is better. Electro-chemistry impossible 18. Attempt to stop the expression from happening. Still not happening. It won't come off that easy. Okay, why is it electrochemistry to fix this? Okay, let's call him. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. Then sleep doesn't come. But I want to sleep. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. I love that I'm talking to my bed. Why? Maybe it's the bed's fault. Check the pillow. The synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Check the blanket. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. Roll over to the other side. It's a little better. Colours, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is trying to solve the case, isn't it? Who killed him? Who? Something to do with... What was it that the lieutenant said? Union? It's gone again. Your thoughts are lost between the slowing brainwaves. No more thoughts. All asleep now. Your breathing steadies. Great silence washes over you till your eyelids twitch. In your sleep, images start forming. Ah, it's me. It's got a disco ball.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood?
What is this?
What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question.
I was born in a hospital where people usually go to die.
You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face?
You said who?
Do you remember the warmth of her thighs between her legs and in her mouth?
Tell me what this is. I'm not answering you before you tell me who you are.
You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone.
Continue.
Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This'll be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life?
It was left?
That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle, and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you.
The bloody disco ball and the disco lights. I just noticed that.
Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours?
I can get it all back.
No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium.
What is Elysium?
Everything. The Pale and the Isolas on the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history.
That growl in his voice.
You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people, and you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up.
Seen you before?
No, you haven't. You're just sleep-talking, and the act is wearing thin, too. The spots on the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy.
I can come back from this.
You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding?
I'm trying to solve this case.
You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
Something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad. This dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover.
God, there's another type?
Oh yes, party boy. And it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
I hate working in the shit factory. Did I take all the drugs? Am I going to walk very slowly today? Good going, buddy. Is that how it's going to be now when I close my eyes? Yes. Wait until you see the one with the chick in it. It's going to be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. What the hell's going on with me? You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down even to think. It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. Why is this happening? It's just that your heart has finally pumped out all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Volition medium failure. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Wait, what is speed? Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again, ready to detect, ready to go to war against the world. No, I can take this. I'm not going to go looking for speed. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically a week? Let's be honest, 2 weeks, maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then, and you will be fired. That's a lie. I can do this without the speed. Half the town won't be dead. Opt out. Do it yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark. 5 XP gained. I'm surprised I didn't get a thought from that. Yeah. I'm a very sorry cop. I want to talk to her. Okay. There was a girl there. She's gone now. I don't even knock on that one. What's... Oh, not sure what was up with that. So there are some important dudes I need to talk to. Ooh. Good morning.
Morning.
He gives you a quick nod. Looks like we can get to work at once. The Union muscle turned up. He points to the mess hall doors. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. Are these the men Gart told us about yesterday? I completely forgot. He looks at his note. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them, by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. He crosses something out. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. What do you mean rowdy? I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union, these men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast. There's talk of armed wing of Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for said policing. I think it's them. There are so many of them. Nah, let's roll. Okay. One more thing before we do. He glances at the booth again. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them and continue with our business. Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past them. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder? They're in no hurry to leave. They will think they own the place. But they do think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me. Okay, I will come back to them.
Just a moment.
The old woman turns back to the cafeteria manager. She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, Mum.
Cafeteria manager appears genuinely apologetic.
It's fine. I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear.
She turns back to you with a worried smile. The lady is distressed. Perhaps something more upbeat might cheer her up. Good day, Mum. Everything all right?
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working.
Continue.
The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too.
What's wrong with the phone line? Wait.
The manager was vague about it.
Okay. What would he be vague about phone problems? Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later. Ask Gart, maybe. Why did you need to use the phone anyway?
To let the young woman who is house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to be back on Monday night, but they're still missing and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
She looks down. A little missing persons puzzles might be just the thing to take your mind off the hangover. Okay, I'll bite. Has your husband gone missing before?
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully. But you have more important things to worry about.
She glances out the window towards the bay. What's this expedition your husband was on? Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant, Gary, are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the waterlock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. She sighs. What could be keeping them? The waterlock! That was broken. Could this be it? The waterlock to the other side... Wait, who's this Gary person? Do you trust him? She smiles. Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Continue. Gary's as loyal as they come. I'd trust him with my husband's life any day. The waterlock to the other side of the coast is broken. It's probably just stuck over there. Proceed. Oh my, what happened to the waterlock? Probably just some technical problem. Well, whatever the cause, I'm thankful. She turns to Kim. To both of you. You spared me another sleepless night. You see, I do like the idea that, like, I clearly missed a couple of people, but by just looking at the random lock, I helped out in this small situation. Continue. You're welcome, Mom. She turns back to you. I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband. Conceptualization. Yes! Some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation. And if you see him, let him know that Lena's waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. If I see him, I'll let him know that you're here, when or if I get there. Accept task. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. So your husband is some kind of scientist? Oh, yes. She says with a pinch of pride. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise. I actually know what cryptozoology is. What is cryptozoology? It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize the research into mythological beasts and urban legends. The lieutenant sounds unimpressed. That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions. She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her. My apologies, Mum. I did not mean to undermine your hobby. It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such a species, called cryptids, is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting the real research. Continue. This quality of research at the Revacholian universities has been on decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite. Maybe you could convince her. Oh, that's has the green note pen. Maybe you can. I'll get to that. Tell me more about Morel. Looks, character, your relationship. Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. What does your husband look like? Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's, and his palms are quite coarse from all the field work. He's quite gentle. You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find a husband, you'll need to find more concrete information. Let's try again. Why don't you try describing him as you would one of your cryptids? Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame. He has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even. The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description. One other thing, he's likely to have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. How long have you been married? Well, we'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Her smile is soft. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more, somehow. How did the two of you meet? Via a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are, she smiles wistfully. She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later. I think I have all the information I need. Let's move on. I hope I'm useful. Tell me more about this rare insect your husband is looking for. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. She catches herself, but I shouldn't bore you with etymological minutiae. The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance. No, I want to hear about the insect. Well, she hesitates. It's a phasmid, technically, but... Ah, yes. Phasmatodea. A diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, and the sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially. Where other plasmids imitate sticks or leaves, there's one living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Enceladian coast. She looks at you in the eye and nods thoughtfully, hence the name, the Enceladian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers. I knew it. The lieutenant sighs. We're going to be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists. Yes, it's not made up, officer, I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. I'm really struggling to say some of these words, aren't I? What makes you think the phasmid is around here? Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one, but they didn't know what it was, of course. But there was a brief article in the local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. So you have the newspaper clipping. So the newspaper clipping is all the evidence you have. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the insulin phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at. Enthusiasm just has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses. You seem really excited about this cryptid. I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the insulin phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. So, is it dangerous? She chuckles to herself. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Is it valuable? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Does it have cool powers? Yes! It can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. Her face lights up at the thought of it. It's how it stayed hidden all these years. Centuries, even. Okay, what's so special about the stick bug, then? Move on. Oh, dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. The woman's face flushes with embarrassment. Morrell can explain it better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure. Suggestion medium. Maybe you can convince her to tell you about some cool cryptids. There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask. Hey, Lana, I'd like to hear about some of the cryptids you've studied. Could you tell me about a couple of them? Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, hang on. Truth be told, I could really use the company too. Lieutenant throws you one of his looks. One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. Okay, Kim, just one little cryptid, promise. He nods and assumes the waiting posture. Electro-chemistry. Cryptids, cryptids. Let's hear about all the interesting cryptids. Is that a cryptid on this pen you gave me? Yes, it's a kind of green ape, half war story, half undiscovered species in the genus Homo. War story? Yes, it was reported by soldiers in the TNN during the war. The kind of green ape would visit bunkers during the night, healing wounded soldiers with its saliva. Wow, with its saliva? Yes, it has amazing healing qualities. Some soldiers reported growing back limbs, regaining their sight. And there was something about an undiscovered subspecies of man. Indeed, there is. It's our closest relative among the cryptids. Same taxonomic family, different genus. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor and that have evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners. I'm pretty sure Kim is the same species as us. To suggest otherwise is stupid. The lieutenant looks at you, pleasantly surprised. Oh, no, I didn't mean to imply that Zeolites are inferior to us. In many ways, she turns to Kim. You are superior. For example, your earwax doesn't have the foul odour like ours does. A tremendous evolutionary advantage, I'm sure. Perhaps we've had enough speculative biology for today. There you go. I'll stop annoying Kim. This has been educational. Sadly, we need to discuss something else. Of course, dear. That's all for now, ma'am. Should we level up authority again? I'll see if there's anything I really want it for. We'll come back to those guys. I'll go... Oh, we're about to end the episode, aren't we? Let's see if there's any more right.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man.
Okay,
What's up?
Okay. Let's put my empathy up.
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
Oh, success! In his eyes, a half-familiar longing, flecks of brown and gold. Familiar how? Hard to say. His gaze wanders southwest, down the street that goes beyond the horizon. What's in the southwest? Excuse me? He emerges from his reverie. A flinch jots his frame. The question has touched a nerve. Hell, I get longing. I felt something similar since I woke up. Man, he sighs. I don't know what to say. Not much anyone can do. There's no helping an absence, you know. I miss my family. They're all I have. My wife, a second kid on the way, waiting all the way in Diora. And here I am, stuck in this shit, so far from home. Diora? Diora of the Seven Seas. It's on the other end of La Calou. Pretty much on another island called Laurentide, off the mainland. We've got a little place here. I can almost hear my kid laugh when it snows. What's it like to miss someone? What's it like? Good and bad? An ache that brings you joy? He smiles warmly. I think of them a lot. I dream up these silly scenarios in great detail of living with them. It comforts me. There's a pause and a sigh. Then he turns his eyes to you. What about you, cop man? You missing someone? Half-light. Easy success. No, it's scarier than that. You're pursued by a hunter, smelling of apricots and sorrow, and the past. Did I buy my gun back? No, I feel hunted. Haunted by what? By a shadowy figure known only to me as the X something. An X what? Whatever it is, it's one thing for sure. It's not my ex-wife. Still, a shadowy figure, that sounds pretty bad. Hope it doesn't happen to my marriage. For some reason, sire, I love that drama says sire. He pays no heed to your objection, continuing instead as if it were your ex-wife. Strange. First, what is marriage? Man, who even knows? It's like a legal contract, but also a bond between spirits. Every one is different, but that's all I can say. Yeah, my thing's got nothing to do with with marriage. Sure, man, if you say so. It doesn't look like he believes you. But look, man. Thanks for this. It's good to talk to someone. I know it wasn't easy to ask, so he smiles. I hope you find your way through your own troubles. That's all for now. There you go. I think he might be an ex-wife then, despite my... I have to heal up. I know it's wasteful, because I can sometimes get healed by random objects. But if I get hurt 2 times in a row, then I'm dead. So yeah, I've been John Proxy on channel John of the West. I'm gonna pause. I've been having a Disco Elysium adventure. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching.